Hi students, I hope that you all are waiting for the new chapter to study. Today, we will try to study the new chapter or we will try to discover the new chapter, that is Discovering Touch, the Saga Continues. Third chapter of 11th class English main book. Before starting the class or before entering to this chapter, let me introduce about the writer A.R. Williams and also will give a small introduction about the chapter. Then we will come to the chapter and give a short summary of the chapter so that you can understand the chapter very well. A.R. Williams is a former senior writer for National Geographic magazine and online news where she covered the world and all that in it for almost 3 decades. She specialized in archaeology, writing features that took her from Egypt to Alaska. A monthly piece for the ancient world section of the magazine and new stories on the latest archaeological discoveries. William received a BA in classical and Eastern archaeology from Bryn Mawr College and an MA in West Asian archaeology with the minors in Egyptology and Akkadian cuneiform from the University of Toronto. She and her husband live in Silver Spring, Maryland, and travel whenever they get the chance. Now we'll come to the small introduction about the chapter. The boy King Tut was just a teenager when he died. Even since the discovery of his tomb by Howard Carter in 1922, there is a lot of curiosity about his life and death. He was the last heir of the powerful family that had ruled Egypt and its empire for centuries. He was laid to rest laden with gold in the ancient Egyptian cemetery known as the Valley of the Kings more than 3,300 years ago. To find new clues about his life and death, Tut had undergone a CT scan on January 5th, 2005. The author describes in detail how the mummy was brought out and was scanned by CT scan machine. Yes, now we will be coming to the chapter and I'm not going to read the chapter. Let me give a short summary of the lesson so that you will understand the chapter very well. Okay, you listen please. And after listening the summary, you go through the chapter and once or twice you read the chapter, again you go through the summary, then you will be thorough with the chapter and the story of the chapter. Okay, here Tutankhamun was the last leader of the great Pharaoh dynasty. He was young when he died. According to some people, his death was a murder. In the year 1922, his tomb was exposed by Howard Carter, an archaeologist. After 80 years, he was taken for the CT scan to solve the mystery of his life and death through a forensic reconstruction. What do you mean by forensic reconstruction? Forensic reconstruction is the process of recreating the face of an individual whose identity is often not known, for their skeleton remains through an amalgamation of artistry, anthropology, astrology, and anatomy. Here, His father or grandfather, Amenhotep Amenhotep III, was a very powerful pharaoh ruler over a period of 40 years. Moreover, his son Amenhotep IV succeeded him and initiated the strangest period in the history of Egypt. His name changed to Akhenaten, which means servant of Athens. He changed the religious capital from Thebes to Amarna. Later, he attacked Amun, a god ruined his images and shut his temples. Another mysterious ruler tried him to die very soon. Tutankhamun sat on the power and ruled for 9 years. When Tutan's mummified body was found, he had lots of gold and wealth. Cotton got him after so many years. After conducting research on the treasures, he planned to examine his three nested boxes. Many parts of the treasure in the tomb were already misplaced. His tomb was found rocket 26 feet under the ground, which also had some wall painting. It reveals that he was suppressed in the months of March or April. One of the coffin put Carter into trouble. The gums used to paste touched to the last of the solid gold. Coffin was tottering enough that made it impossible to displace. He put the box in the sun for numerous hours so that the resin loosened, but that didn't work. At last, he removed the adhesive with the chisel and hammer. Carter sensed he didn't have any other choice than cutting the mummy from limb to limb. Thieves would have robbed the gold and the treasures. His men first removed the head of the mummy, then they cut off each and every joint. After the process of removing all the body parts, they placed it on the layer of sand. They kept the parts in a wooden box and placed it at the original place. Later, in January 2009, the body was taken for a CT scan, which takes hundreds of X-rays and generates a 3D image. That night, after the scan, the workmen passed his body from the tomb into a box. They went through the ramp and stairs and lifted the body on a hydraulic trailer that was holding the scanner. The scanner suddenly stopped working and the process of the CT scan stopped. After the use of a pair of fans, the scan was finally completed. After 3 hours, they transferred his body back to his tomb, where his body is now resting in peace. This is what the chapter. When we come to the conclusion, to conclude this chapter, discovering Third, the saga continues. Summary tells you that Tutankhamun, also known as Tut, was a brave ruler who of the great pharaoh dynasty. He died a mysterious death, and is resting in peace in his tomb now. Now you see that if we go, we can see the tomb of this uh, man in the Pharaoh dynasty. I hope that you understood this chapter. Thank you so much.